with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
So, are we at war? Are the aliens here? Do we have whistleblowers that have the truth about aliens? Does the UFO conference really care about getting down to the classified information? Well, that's what we're here for, right? Now, for the record, I'm going to give a little disclaimer to some of you. Just a little disclaimer. Sometimes our point of views are different. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes our point of views are different. And some people don't like when your point of views are different. Some people can't handle if somebody thinks differently. You know what I mean? What I mean is, in the chat today, I know there'll be a lot of people who are going to be not really on my side on some of this stuff that we're going to talk about, that UFO conference that happened on the 26th. Some of you might. But if you disagree, that's fine. Disagree. Put it in the chat. You disagree with my opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's all opinions. Your opinion is important. My opinion is important. But just don't call somebody dumb, stupid, you're wrong. Because at the end of the day, technically, it's all speculation, even in the first place. I've never spent a whole day with none of these whistleblowers. The rep, Tim, I've never spent any day. I can't truly tell you on how they think. Do they really care? Because I'm not with them. I'm just basing everything off of what I have seen. Videos I have seen. So I'm coming from that point of view. Now, I could have, like anybody else, I could have done this video Wednesday night when the temperature is here, when the temperature is up. You know, that's where all the clicks and views are. Everybody's just diving in. Everybody's just looking for an opinion. You know, everybody's looking for opinions. So everybody was just diving in Wednesday to Wednesday night. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it Wednesday night. I'm going to do it on Friday. I'm going to wait a couple days because I want to see what other people think. What are they saying? You know? So was that a smart move? I probably left 300 views out there. I probably would have gotten. But it wasn't about that. It was about when I come talk to you, I'm giving you my judgment. And this is just my judgment. So don't take it to heart. And I know I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people that's hardcore into the UFO community. And I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I just got to tell you how I feel, what I think of the whole conference. You know, because I've seen titles of people's shows. This is the greatest day in UFO history. Oh, David Wash is an American hero. The greatest American, and I saw one said the greatest American hero, David Grush. The 3 whistleblowers who stood up to the nation. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen all the titles. I mean, it's just, you know, Tim for president. I saw that. You know, I saw everybody on the bandwagon. Everybody. Not everybody on the bandwagon of you agreed what you saw. You know what I'm getting at. I mean, so in a lot of ways, they won in a lot of ways. If their goal was to get the UFO community behind them, well, they succeed. Doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter exactly what I think. If Tim, Jerry Garbell and George Knapp, who sat in the back of the whistleblowers, sat in their chairs, had special treatment to the whole freaking conference. They all won. They're all the hottest ticket there is, going on news shows. They got what they wanted because they got 80% of all UFO community behind them. David Grush could walk into a UFO conference and people will pay $75 for an autograph, $150 for an autograph. It is what it is. And I'm not taking it away. If that was the three whistleblowers' goal, they succeeded. Doesn't matter what I say here. They succeeded. They won. Now, for me, I'm going to be honest. And I can't be me if I can't be honest with you all. I was pissed off at the conference. I did not like the conference. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a flat-out joke. And I'm sorry that some of you disagree with me. I'm sorry. I just got to tell you how I feel. I was disappointed. I was pissed. I was angry. Why? That's the question, right? I am going to play a video, some big scenes from the conference. And, you know, we're going to, I'm going to explain some of the things why I feel one way. I was disappointed because, first of all, Representative Tim Bullshit from Tennessee, he built this thing up. First of all, he built up this conference. We're going to hear this. We're going to get names. We're going to get this. We're going to be able to open this wide open. So Representative Tim is the one who built this hype. He built it. Wasn't me. Wasn't anybody else. Tim did come out and say, you know what? I had the opportunity to get my panel together to bring in the so-called whistleblowers and hear what they have to say to see if they contribute. He could have done that. Said, we're just here to have a conversation to see if there's anything more that we could do to maybe get the classifieds out there. He could have done that. But you yourself have to admit that Tim was going on every channel to say, we're going to get this, we're going to get this, we're going to get this, we're going to get this. All I got was exact same stories that these three whistleblowers, so-called whistleblowers, have said on interviews. Now, that one guy did say one thing different about one of the UFO shape was as big as the football field. I'll give him that. I'll give that guy that. I'll give him that. But most of all, it was already things I already heard. They just repeated it there. That's all they did. They repeated it there. So I'm going to play parts of the greatest hits from David Grush. Now, guys, I had issues with Google Chrome, but Google Chrome this morning had an update. I updated it. It just came out. I'm hoping that I don't freeze. I could be able to play this video just in case. If I can't play the video, I'm going to jump over to the edge. So I might drop off for a second and all that. Can we just stay respectful because I want to hear this? And I agree. I'm going to be respectful. This is, guys, like I said, this is my point of view. You could have a totally different point of view, and that's fine. But I got to give my point of view, and I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings on their point of view. Everybody's point of view is different. Listen, Danny Staten and I have a different point of view on Bob Lazar. He believes in more, and I don't. We're awesome friends. We're awesome friends. In fact, can I give Danny a shout out for a second? I'm going to give Danny a shout out. Last night, I'm not going to get into it too much. Last night, I was in the emergency room. I was at the hospital last night, and I was texting Danny, sent him pictures of me in the emergency room, and Danny was saying some nice things on another channel about me. You know, when you're sitting in an emergency room, you know, when you're sitting in an emergency room, waiting for the doctor. I had to get a CT scan and stuff like that. So Danny helped me get through it. So Danny, I want to thank you for last night. I want to thank you last night, Danny. Luckily, some things turn out good. I have to do some other things, but thank you, Danny, for having a text back and forth while I was in the emergency room. I took a picture of myself on the bed and all that. So Danny, thank you. Because sometimes when you talk to somebody, when you're in somewhere that you don't want to be, it truly helps you out. So I got to give Danny a bump. All right, let's check this out. Uh-oh. All right. Give me a second. All right, guys. I guess my issues with Google Chrome is still an issue. That sucks. I try to play the video through my Google Chrome. I guess there's still an issue with it. So I'm on the edge. You guys can see me now. So let me bring up the video. I got to bring it up again. I had it already. I actually thought that Google Chrome, because it was working behind the scenes, but I guess that update didn't work. So again, thank you guys for sticking it with me here. Give me a second.
Do you believe our government?
Okay, so here we go. Now, before we start, you know what, Ron? I'll try that. This just started last week. All suddenly, my stuff just does not work with Google Chrome. But the weird thing is, Ron, I look good on Google Chrome. I look kind of like squished on the edge. Don't know. But let's play some of this, and I'm gonna be pausing it from here and there about some of the stuff. Here we go.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
All throughout the conference, that's all you heard. All throughout the conference. I can't say that. I can't say this. I can't say that. And I hear people in the UFO community, well, Eric, he's under this, he's under that. No, hold on. He's under this, he's under that. I get that. Tim bullshit said, we're going to get names. We're going to bust this thing wide open. He had the opportunity to break it wide open. Now, Eric, no, Eric. He could get arrested. That's a fair point. Before this conference, when he was coming out as a whistleblower, and I said this, well, if he really had classified information, he would be arrested, right? I said that. I said it on my own show. I said it everywhere. He would be arrested. Like Snowden had to go to Russia, just like that 21-year-old National Guard kid is arrested in jail right now for giving out classified information. But Eric, they didn't want to make him a martyr. They don't want to make him a martyr. They don't want to make him bigger than he is. Okay? If that's the reason, well, if you want to be a martyr, you could have done it right here in front of millions of people. You could have been the hero if you want. And if you're saying, in the past, that he could be a martyr for giving it out, and he had the opportunity right here, and he didn't take it. I don't know. That's fishy to me. And again, Tim said, we're going to open this wide up. A missed opportunity that this fucker could have done, and he did not. So he could be a hero to a lot of people, He is no hero to me.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
But not by, he didn't see it firsthand from somebody else. Not by him, of course. He didn't see it. He's just taking this from somebody else. And I'm saying the person he's saying didn't, but that person's not the one who's coming out. He is. So technically, he didn't see nothing. He's taking a word by somebody else. Yeah, he'd be your best friend. You feel trusted, but still, the evidence of somebody seeing something was not present. The evidence was with the people who really did saw him, and none of those people were there at the thing. So far, no evidence of anything has been given to this panel. Just saying, no evidence have been given to this panel yet.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Knowledge of the people that's on the program. And I'm not saying the people on the program did not see it, but again, we are not given actual real proof during this panel. Listen. This is of all panels, right? Of all panels to go on. This is not like it's a government panel, but this is not the real government panel. Kind of like those panels that go against the CEOs of companies, corporations, where they rip you a new asshole, and then the CEO ripped them a new asshole. Everybody rips each other a new assholes. This is not that kind of panel. This is kind of a softball panel that's honestly, I hate to say this to people, none of those people on that panel have any power. None of them have any power. Not one person that has that can get to these files like some of these other panels that the UFO panel. So this panel, I'm not trying to say the people don't care about what they're talking about. I'm sure everyone on the panel really care about the UFOs. I'm not saying that. You could tell that lady, Miss Wise, whatever her name is, probably really cares about the UFOs. But the truth of the matter is, she has no power. She has zip, none. So when you have no power, when you're a panel, you have no power, and you're doing this a show to the world because you want the world to believe, to put pressure on the government. First of all, you have a panel that has no power. Tim Bullshit has no power. He cares about UFOs. We love him for that. I'm not going against Tim. He's, we love him for having the love for UFOs, but at the end of the day, he has no power to do anything. So if you're going to put a panel like this to break it wide open to maybe somehow gain power or to really cripple the government, you needed these three whistleblowers, especially David Grush, of the things he's saying, to step up and break it wide open. Did not happen. That's my opinion. Did not happen.
Was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you and Skiff about.
Out for it.
I even had to talk to you, Skip, about. Can't talk about it here. Oh, even though this is the reason why we're here with this panel to talk about it. And guys, guess what? Just did a little research. To this day, I know it's only been 2 days. Nothing has been given wise to that woman. Nothing, no paperwork, no nothing. Apparently, no real conversation was given to those two after the panel. Just trying to say, he said they're going to talk to her and him, and apparently it never happened.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
I was informed. He's not even firsthand. He was informed. Was informed. You know, we're supposed to have this whistleblower protection law thing and all that, you know, all this kind of stuff. Should have gotten one of those guys who were there. But isn't that kind of weird that nobody was there? Oh, Eric, they're afraid of their life. They're afraid of this. They're afraid of that. Yeah, they were afraid because they knew that panel has no power to protect anybody. It wasn't a real panel of power. I'm not trying to crap on the thing, but the truth is there was no power on that panel. So I guess I could see why a first-hand person would have come on there. It'd be different if he had the top Congress, governors, president, vice president, people that can make a dramatic change, that has where they can get to the files. None of those people on the panel have any of that kind of power. So I guess if you were first-hand watch, why would you go on this panel? Even though this panel's, you know, for the UFO community, they're all for the UFOs. But again, listen, I love UFOs. I think they're real. If they put me on the panel, technically they put me on the panel all for nothing because I have no power. What about the 3 witnesses that never showed? Yeah, 3 witnesses never showed. Yeah, why did they show up? I haven't really heard exactly about those 3, but was those 3 slow motion? Please share with us in the chat, or maybe tell Ron. I'm sure Ron might know. So who are these other 3 witnesses that's supposed to talk about it never showed? Is there are there names? What are their story? Are they claiming they're afraid for their lives or something? If you can expand on that for us, that'd be terrific. That'd be terrific.
To which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
He was denied. You know, he wanted access to it. But listen, guys. In the real world, eating jobs, you don't have access to everything at a job. Even though you want access, you want to look up something. But I'm not. I respect your opinion. I really do, Eric. But please stop calling him bulls. There's no need to be nasty. All right, I won't call Tim. What? I'm sorry. Okay, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't be nasty. I should. You're right about that. I shouldn't. Here we go. Oh shoot. Where? Hold on.
My superior. I have to talk to you. Human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Out for us.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. To which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people in the military don't have access to everything. You know, in the work world, don't have access to any, you know, other departments or whatever it is. You're not guaranteed to have access to anything. So that's what he said. There is really nothing like, oh my God, they wouldn't give him access. That's the real world. There's things that he's not even high up to see. Whatever it is behind the scenes, that's just normal round the world work stuff. That's nothing at all there.
I made the decision based on the data I collected to report this information to my superiors and multiple inspectors general.
Okay, so he gathered data, which is good, which is great. gather your data, gather your information, you put it to your superiors. Well, apparently, giving your superiors have done nothing. It hasn't done nothing. I mean, nothing has really been open. So why not do it here? Why not do it? Eric, you might get arrested. Well, there's a good opportunity for him to be a martyr, to be a hero. Do it here in front of millions of people because, people will protect him. But maybe because, I'm just saying, maybe he doesn't have the data. Maybe he doesn't have data. Hold on. Slow Motion wrote, all I know that it's what Chris Leto said, that there were 3 empty seats for witnesses on the show. No names were given. Okay. I think Chris was thinking because the 3 seats behind the witnesses that said reserved for witnesses, those 3 empty seats were the seats that were testifying before the hearing began. That's a good point. Thank you for that, Ron. I appreciate that. My understanding is that part of the job he was supposed to be given that access, but I may be mistaken. And no. Hey, listen, that could be true. That could be true. And that would have been, you know what? Paranormal Pixie Laura, that's an awesome comment because I tell you why. Because if he was supposed to be given, he should have brought that up, saying that would have been something awesome to bring up. I was supposed to be given access, but I was denied. You know what I mean? That would have been something that, like, oh, really? He's supposed to have access, but they denied him. Was he misbehaving? Was he not playing on? You know what I mean? That would have been something very intelligent, smart to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good one. That's a good one. I was in the Snoop team in the Navy. We collected information on storage contacts. I'll give more info in a bit. I'm waiting for my invite. Here, I'll hold on. Let me I'll email you the invite. Give me a second. Let me find the invite. Give me a second. There you are. Give me a second. All right. I sent you the invite. Here we go.
And in effect becoming a whistleblower. As you know, I've suffered retaliation for my decision, but I am hopeful that my actions will ultimately lead to a positive outcome of increased transparency.
Now, he said he suffered retaliation, which listen, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's true. I do not know if he really was. If he was, then shame on them for that. Shame on the government and the military. I would stick up for him for that. But I don't know if that's true or not. None of us really know. If somebody said, no, you can't have access, that's not retaliation. I mean, you know what I mean? There's different levels of what is I wish they would expand it more. Like what? Like, did they threaten your life? Did they did this? Did they do that? Because retaliation, there's nothing new in that. There is nothing new at all. So let's go on to Representative Tim.
Can you give me the names and titles of the people with direct firsthand knowledge and access to some of this crash retrieval, some of these crash retrieval programs, and maybe which facilities, military bases that the recovered material would be in? And I know a lot of Congress talked about we're going to go to Area 51 and there's nothing there anymore anyway. It's just, and we move like a glacier. And as soon as we announce it, I'm sure the moving vans would pull up, but please.
Okay, let's see what now let's see. Now, right now, Representative Tim is asking for names, paper, which, remember, before this hearing, he said, this is what we're going to see. Not from me, not that I wanted to see it, not that Dr. Wood wanted to see it, not that you people in the chat wanted to see it. Tim himself said in a lot of interviews, we're going to get names. We're going to get this. So this is something that he promised us.
I can't discuss that publicly, but I did provide that information both to the Intel committees and the Inspector General.
don't know what to say. Tim promised us this. It's not. This is Bob. It's different to say like can he really get in trouble? I'm not saying that. But when somebody says before a conference, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get. It's kind of like it reminds me of. Well, there's the third movie. The third movie in the Planet of the Apes. The Planet the War of what was it called? The War.
Was that the one that were underground? Was that the one with underground with the nuclear weapons?
Hold on.
There was the first one, and then there was this. Was it the second one they were under?
Of the planet of the apes.
Planet of the Apes.
And I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
It's giving me the old. I'm talking about the newer ones.
I don't
Planet,
know that. Oh yeah.
Planet
With
of the
the
Apes.
Wahlberg kind of ones, the newest ones.
Let me see here. There were Rise. We know there was Rise, Planet of the Apes. We know that. Dawn of the Planet. Wasn't one called like the War?
Oh, the final one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the final one. I'll type that in. I'll type that in. The final movie.
Yeah.
Of the planet. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Planet of the Apes.
No, you're doing great. I'm enjoying.
Okay.
I have to agree with you. So you know that I agree with you 100%. That's why I'm enjoying. That's why I ain't saying. You're saying it perfect. I ain't saying a word.
See here, 2013 movie. Let me see. Dawn Rise. What? How come it became super hard? Somebody write it in there.
A lot of things.
Hell, is it Dawn? No, am I having a Mandela effect?
No, well, you might. Everything keeps changing, so because there's aliens now, so everything keeps changing, right? We can all go to bed tonight, and we know that there is in fact aliens, Eric.
Okay, it's called War for the Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet.
It's called War,
like
right? The title said War. And what I mean is, so when you watch that movie, you're waiting for the final war. And I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but everything was in the movie except the war.
Right.
Except the war. You saw previews of all the apes lined up on horses, right. and then what happened at the end is all the snow covered up the soldiers, and there was never that war. So why I bring that up is you saw the previews. You're thinking you can see this war. You go in there, you saw everything but the war. So Tim brought this up that we're going to see all this, and you did not. So it's like I said this before the show. It's like they built you up. You have this expectation. It wasn't that. Listen, I was thinking all along, is this going to be another panel? But Tim built this up. So when people are angry, it's not their fault because Tim, the representative of Tennessee, built this up. And this guy, and the thing is, this is what I hated about this conference. When he says he can't, every time anybody says, I can't say anything, nobody, why can't you say this? What's holding you? You know what I mean? Like if you guys ever in chat, I'm serious. You ever get a chance, watch a real government panel that goes against, I don't know, the Amazon, the Microsofts. They are brutal. They are dirty. They are pissed off if you don't get an answer. But nobody here challenges him when he says, "I can't give it to you."
Right. And they're saying, Eric, and I'm watching the panel. I watched it, and I know it's fake. Anyway, so I'm watching the panel, and exactly how you say, dude. There is literally somebody with a little bit of a question that's going in their ears, and it's almost as if they're reading a question. Like they're not asking a question; they're being asked. They're being given a question to ask, which means they've already got it written out. Everything here is completely planned. We both know that. You and I joke, Eric, on your show. I mean, people on my show, they talk about it. You and I joke back and forth. Now we were in the military, and when we watched the tic tac go. and they're using unauthorized UA conversation on the radio. Then you can't shout. You can't have undisciplined conversation on the radio if you see anything. I was on Snoopy. We had surface contacts, things that we don't know what they are. So we call in a group, we have a book, we open it up, and there are these things in the book that you have to try to use them to identify what it is that you're looking at. And it has the names of everything. Now, as we're looking things up, I'm not Eric. You're on the other end of the sound powered phone. Hey, dude. And Eric, you're like, crazy, man. Now, are we having that conversation in the military on an open freaking sound powered phone frequency?
No, I know.
No, are you singing this song? No, we both know this is fake. We're like, they can't talk that way.
And to be sending a letter
talk that way in the military over the.
You have protocol. And if you break protocol, you can get in majorly trouble for the protocol. And again, I'm not trying to upset anybody, but I didn't build the expectations. They did. Now let's hear a little bit more of this.
I can't discuss that publicly, but I did provide that information both to the intel committees and the inspector general.
I'm going to be sending a letter. I'm going to be working with members of the Oversight Committee to get Mr. Grush into a SCIF. You heard a lot of his answers today that are classified information that he provided to the Inspector General. We want to see that. And so I think that's the next step here is to get that information in a secure facility.
First of all, I hate to say this. Congress people send letters all the time. That guy who says he's going to send a letter has no power. He's doing his job. You know, you could send letters in Congress. Any job you have, you can send letters.
Inquiries,
but is it going to hold weight? And I hate to say this. That guy has no power. I wish he did. I wish like he could send that letter and like Joe Biden, like, oh God, we got to do it. It's just show and tell. And Bob, I gotta tell you this. The funny thing, I don't know if he's still here in the chat. Is Cosmic Neighbors Ron still in the chat? Because Cosmic Neighbors was watching this live on his channel, and I was in his chat. Yeah. And I'm sure you didn't watch it through Cosmic Neighbors, Ron.
No,
I'm sure you didn't watch it. And Ron was mentioning that this sounds like just a script.
It's a script.
Like he knows back and forth. I know I'm going to answer this, but I know he's going to say no, he can't give it. But it was like a plan. It was like, we can't get what we want, but we're just going to do this little back and forth little conversation. And I remember Ron mentioning that. I think Ron, Danny was there in his chat. I'm not taking WTF what you're talking about, slow guy. Oh, he's talking about there's someone else in the chat saying something that it's guys. I apologize if I can't see everybody's comments or you want to bring. If there's something super important you want us to capture your eye, put it in all caps or something, because it's hard to catch up. Like here's something in all caps: humanity's final battle. We will fight with sticks and stones if everyone is afraid to tell the truth.
Yeah, well, there's the truth, and then there's top security, clearance. And if you don't have the clearance, you ain't gonna hear it, Clarence. Yeah. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I don't care who you are. You ain't if you don't have the clearance, you ain't getting it, Clarence. I don't care what this little like Eric, these guys don't have clearance. There's nobody in there. No.
And I said that earlier. I hate to say this, but every one of those people on that panel have zero power.
They have no clearance. They have no security clearance.
They have nothing. And there's not, even though people are saying, oh, well, this panel is better than the other ones, but at least the other panels has some people that actually have some power. Yeah. I hate to say it. These are just like, they love UFOs. We don't hate them for that. Yeah. We support them to love UFOs because, we do. But you got to bring reality into this world to realize that all because they do love it, it's like, listen, we talked about Tom DeLonge before. He loves UFOs, but he got it with the wrong people. They made this company that failed. Being good doesn't always mean you're going to win.
Yeah, I like Tom. I love Blank 182. I love Tom DeLonge, but he don't have no clearance, Clarence. He don't have no clearance. He's hanging out with somebody who has clearance, who trick a little bit of information so he could play it out with propaganda and fun stuff. Now, I like Tom DeLonge. He's a great skater. He's a great rocker. I love his music. I'm happy he's back together with Blank 182 again. I'm like, I'd love to see his concert, man. I mean, but he's got no clearance, man.
And I love when people say, or when he goes on like Joe Rogan's channel, and like, yeah, I just had lunch. Well, listen, if I'm a senator, if I get to have lunch with Tom DeLonge, I'm gonna have lunch with him. It doesn't mean, oh, here you go.
Yeah. UFOs, yeah, whatever, dude. Hey, man, I really enjoyed it when you guys were. I love this song. Well, anyway, I'm gonna talk about. You don't have the clearance, dude. So why do you even pretend? He gives a bunch of fluff words, and I'm like, yeah, okay, really, man. The funny thing about, and I want to put this in people's heads, and this is a fact. Okay, so like, say you have what's the famous one where all this stuff that broke down and they crash and all the pieces are everywhere, right?
Roswell.
Roswell, right? Okay, here we go. So let's talk about Roswell. Now, you have a plethora of information about people's being abducted. Okay, they're being levitated into the sky. The entire objects are being levitated into the sky into a mothership. You've got stories of all these nuclear facilities being shut down by this advanced aerial phenomenon in the sky. But you tell me that with all that technology that one mothership couldn't pick up all those pieces that fell out? Like Humpty Dumpty had a crash and the mothership can't pick Humpty Dumpty up from piece by piece. You could pick up a tank in the air into a mothership that weighs a lot of, and you can't pick up, other words, a mothership can't clean up its mess. Right?
That's a strong point. That's a strong point.
It's a joke. Okay, so you have okay, so a ship crashes and all the pieces are everywhere. We've got hundreds of men scattered out miles picking up little fragments. You can't tell me that a mothership can send a little fucking ray down and pick up its own pieces, man.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, no.
Slow Motion wrote, Tom DeLonge was way too gullible, and the reason I'm bringing that up is Slow Motion. He's correct in this, and not everybody is meant to be a CEO. So when they put Tom DeLonge in charge as a CEO of this company, when they fell, he was out of his range. We're not all made to be CEOs. We're not all made. Listen, Tom DeLonge is a better soldier. He has videos. He studies. That's where he's strong at. And that's where he should stay and show it. But being a leader and CEO is two total different things. And that's where maybe him being gullible hurt him in that point. We all agree that Tom DeLonge loves UFOs. We're not taking that away at all.
So do I. So do you. So does a lot of people. Everybody loves. I like Star Trek. I worked at an aerospace museum. I studied all of that stuff, and when I see these things, I'm like, this is a lie. This is fake. I mean, this is fake. It reminds me of the Blackbird, right? Everyone knows about the Blackbird. It's the secret, Blackbird. It's a surveillance jet, and it goes over and it picks up information. And nobody knows about the Blackbird, but now everybody knows about the Blackbird. I'm like, wait a minute now. The debris that was picked up by, and now we have Eric. Remember, they're not aliens. They're not aliens.
Oh no, they're the new porn
non-human.
Word. Non-human biologicals. Yeah, the new porn word for the UFO community.
Yes, non-human.
It's the new porn word. I mean, it's just like, oh my god, like okay. But the thing is, doesn't matter if he uses none, real or not. He didn't witness them himself. It doesn't matter at all. Well, let's see what else this video has for us.
Maybe pledging. What do you hope comes from this now? What are the next steps after this hearing today?
Well, somehow we've got to get subpoena power, and we've got the ability to get access to the records, the radar systems, the photographs that will inform the decisions we have to make on funding and authorities.
The tweet you put out, I think it was after.
Now, again, not all because you're a Congress, you're a senator. You're not given every information there is of different departments. Everybody has like certain jobs within the government. Now, your main job is to represent your state.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be representing your state, but then you do get put in panels and groups, like special projects on this. And then when you get put on a special project, whatever it is, I don't know, automobile safety. I don't know, automobile safety. When you're on automobile safety, then you're given all the classified information on the safety of automobiles, how to fix it or not. Yeah. And if you're not in that group, you didn't get selected, you're not going to get that same information. And everybody is told when you go into these, I'm not saying clubs, but you get picked to be in certain things. You are told that you are not allowed to say anything outside this room, because if you bring out automobile safety out to the world, you could cause lawsuits. You could cause, companies collapse because the information that's provided you in private. Not everybody can get access to certain departments. I mean, that's just the truth. You could want it. You could want it. I'm sure, Bob, I'm sure you and I want all the top files from Amazon.
Yeah.
You're not going to give it to us. No. And we're in the government. No. We're in the government. Actually, we still get paid by the government in a way.
Yeah, I work for the government.
We work for the government. We get, you and I actually, we get disability because we got injured in the military. Yeah,
and I have security clearance. I have all kinds of security clearance.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We have security clearance.
Yeah.
We can't get certain clearance. That's just how the system works. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just bringing reality into it. Now, let's see anything else.
Hearing, going into more explanation about what happened at the Air Force Base. Can you talk a little bit about that?
At Eglin Air Force Base, I saw things that did not appear from human origin, and I hope that we're able to get that information before the entire Congress. That's probably all.
Appears. So you understand the words they use that coming out of their mouths? Appears. It doesn't appear to be. You know what, Eric? I made a time machine. You can come in the house and you can say, dude, this doesn't appear to be from anything that anybody's made. You know I made it, right? And you're like, it doesn't appear to be, you could say whatever you want if it doesn't appear. I can do a Klingon mask, Eric, and then make it look like a Klingon and put it like a Klingon tools with it. And Eric, you're like, dude, this doesn't appear to be anything made by humans. But I made it.
At the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, you might have saw something you don't know. Is there pictures? Is there a file on this? Is there sizes? Is there something that you could show us? No, there's never is. It's all been turned in.
Yeah, it's a contract word. You guys understand? There's a contract word. That's a word that gets you out. It gives you wiggle room. He said appears. It doesn't mean it was not made by humans. It means it appears to not be. Eric can make himself a cool ass whatever project that looks like something that was made on Mars and say, Bob, take a look at this. And I'm like, dude, that does not appear to be made on Earth.
Yeah.
It's a contract word. Go ahead.
Let's hear more of this stuff.
All I can say about it.
So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding?
First of all, I hate when she said, you can't call names. Why not? He's under oath. He's in front of you. I mean, he's directly in front of you, and you're asking questions like, who would you bring? Like, first of all, that part of the questioning, he doesn't have the power to bring people in, even in the first place. And the people, I think maybe she's getting at like the first-hand people. Well, the first-hand people, they saw all this should have been there in the first place.
Yeah,
because you don't know, you're not guaranteed that you're going to have another panel. You might have one in a year or two, but I don't know. What else she says?
What programs are happening and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super.
To this day, that crisscross never happened yet. So
Yeah.
he said after the hearing, she's going to get a list. I just want to let people know, as of right now, there's no information at all that she got a list. So again, he has a list. No names, no nothing.
Yeah.
Apparently, this list was already given up to the superiors anyway. So, So I mean, again, he had his opportunity to blow this thing out of the water. But I guarantee, I hate to say this, people. I bet you right now, David Grosh could go to any UFO conference and people will pay $75 or $150 an autograph for him, calling him a hero. So he got what he wanted. But,
he ain't no freaking hero. He's an idiot. Well, here's the list. Everyone needs to understand one thing about modern time intelligence departments. Where there was a time in the past where you had the central intelligence, you had these other intelligence, they worked for the government, they had their whatevers, their hands are pretty much tied, you can't do Abrams, but now we have private contractors. And the head of private contract all across the board is a group called Blackstone. Blackstone is they call a mother company. It used to be a Blackwater, which was a private mercenary group that pretty much fought all the wars over in the Middle East, was disbanded, and they were taken into a group. They just changed their name to Blackstone, Blackwater, Blackstone. There's a whole lot of black stuff going across. These are hardcore contractors that work for the government. The government is no longer. It's a military industrial complex that has lots and lots and lots of contracts that went ape shit on all kinds of stuff. So when she's asking about, she knows herself that you start naming Blackwater or Blackstone or all these other hard-hitting groups, she could have all of a sudden porn on her internet that's not too good, and she's going to be arrested by somebody coming in, like the FBI is going to be busting down her door any day, because these guys can do anything and everything to everybody real fast. You will be in prison real quick. They run everything. They're private contractors, man. And she don't want to say it. She knows who it is. In fact, Blackstone, the company, the mother company, also just bought, or just a little bit back, what's that? Ancestry.com. Why would a private contracting group buy Ancestry.com? Because all of your DNA and everybody that goes and has a Christmas present, open up. Eric, in fact, yourself, remember you were like, hey, for Christmas, what'd you do? You did 23andMe, or you did Ancestry.com, right?
I did Ancestry.
Okay, so Ancestry is now owned by Blackstone, the mother company that owned all the intelligence stuff. So your DNA is now owned by them. So when they talk about these non-human whatever entities and all the genetics and all the materials, it all goes to one big old mother company that has distributing all these other private companies. Now, I'm not making this up. You guys can look up your own information. In fact, Danny Statham's like, no, holy cow, Robert Wood's right. They do own Ancestry.com. And they do.
Oh, guess what? I don't know if you know this, Bob, but Danny has a list.
He has a list? Is he checking it twice?
Yes, I got a list too. It's a list to the grocery store, but it's still a list.
Am I naughty on his list?
Big DNA bank. There's Cosmic Neighbors. Cosmic Neighbors. He's the one I was talking about, Bob. That during his live show, he was mentioning that how this sounds very scripted. It's
not very scripted. It's all scripted by a company that has it all put together.
There we go. Danny wrote, Blackstone, Blackwater, Black Hawk are all owned by Black Knight Industries. I was a private contractor for them from 1990 till 1993 in Afghanistan.
Very good. So you know what I'm talking about. And you also know they're the ones who pick up the parts and pieces for all this stuff. And they're the ones orchestrating all of this.
And BlackRock owns nearly everything.
Everybody's on board. You guys did your own research. You know what we're talking about.
I don't know if they're going to mention it here, but I've mentioned on my channel so many times. I always hate it when they say, we demand that the Pentagon, the military people, to release all this. And which I keep telling people, listen, the Secretary of State is the one who's in charge of the Pentagon. Is in charge of the military, and then the Secretary of State boss is the president. They are in control of the military. Military cannot give out anything without permission from the government themselves. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It is, because the government says they should release it, but their boss is the Secretary of State. That is the government. So the truth needs to come from them, not the military. It's like the military. It's its own government, and they're holding things because they can.
There's
Their
a chain
boss
of command.
is the Secretary of State is in charge of the Pentagon,
There's a
and
chain of
his
command.
boss is the president.
Yeah, there's a chain of command. And when I was in the Navy, and of course there's a Snoopy team, and you have an unidentified whatever aerial phenomenon or surface contact, let me say that, or underwater contact, and you're out looking at it, and you got your book out, and you're doing identifications and writing your things up, and you turn around, and the officer of the deck, which is an officer, and you're not an officer, says, "What do you have in your book?" You say, "I am not authorized to tell you, sir." And then you go downstairs, and everyone wants to know what is it? Everybody sees the phenomenon. Everybody wants to know what you've determined it is and what you wrote down. All of these officers in officer countries, you walk by them with your book. Everybody is ordering you to stop and ordering you to open up their book and tell them. And you're like, I can't do that. I'll go to prison I'll go to the brig. I'll go to the brig. I can't tell you anything, sir. I'm an officer. I can't tell you. All those people sitting on the panel, they're just no different than officers going, I want to know. I can't tell you. There's a chain of command. It goes all the way up to the top. And guess what? You're not in that tippy top list. You're just a nothing. You're an officer. You have a right to know, need to know basis, and you need to let me go because you're not getting that information. This guy's sitting there now. He's a private contract. He was in the Air Force, but he also works for private contract. You know, he's private. In other words, he's with the black water, the black stone, the black whatever, the umbrella corporation. He's not military. So he's talking to officers as he's not even privy. He don't even have to tell anything to, but he don't want to go to prison because now he's facing an actual panel that from the government, and they're asking him, but he's still private contract and under oath. He can't tell them anything. Well, he can. Like you said, he can tell them what he's supposed to tell them.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
And if you think this man right here is going to say something. Hold on. Let's hear this again.
Says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon. And he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you.
So this man is not going to allow no release.
No.
Even though he's been in office forever and he knows more than most people, he knows if they exist or not because he's a lifer. So usually your lifers are the ones who are in these groups with the parent. Because listen, if you're brand new to the Senate, your first 4-8 years, you're not going to be given that kind of information because you're too new. You're not a lifer. It'd be like anybody walks in, this is the top secret. You lose your election, you're going to tell the world.
Yeah, his job is to play the part. Yeah, well, he's a WWF wrestler. His job is to come out and get everybody angry. His job is to be like an entertaining wrestler. He's supposed to be like, Superfly Snuka. Yeah, I mean, his job is to be this end, and Donald Trump's on this end, and all the wrestlers are playing their part. You know what I mean? He's part of the military-industrial complex. He works for an industry. He's not talking.
He's not talking.
In charge of a department. No, hell no.
So let's hear more of this.
Satellite imagery. Let's talk about satellite imagery. We have satellites all over the place, some that we're aware of and many that we're not aware of, right? We're taking pictures of everything at every point and second. Mr. Grush, are you aware, do you have direct knowledge, or have you talked to people with direct knowledge that there are satellite imagery of these events?
That was one of my primary tasks at NGA since we process, exploit, and disseminate that kind of information. I've seen multiple cases, some of which, to my understanding, and of course I left NGA in April, so that's my information cutoff date. But I personally reviewed both what we call overhead collection and from other strategic and tactical platforms that I could not even explain prosaically. And I have a degree in physics, by the way, as well. And I am aware that you guys have not seen these reports, unfortunately.
Explain.
Okay, first of all, since he's got that college degree in that, we have to believe. You know, my son Oliver said something very interesting because he was watching that actually upstairs these clips, and he's like, you know, Dad, with all these satellites, you know, every other country has gotten their state-of-the-art satellites. He goes, even China.
Yeah.
And my son Oliver made a good point. He goes, you know, China would take any opportunity to kick us in the balls if they can. So if there's crashes, he goes, there's going to be crashes all around the world, not just in America. You don't think that China would take the opportunity to kick us in the balls to come out and say, look what we caught on our satellite cameras? And he's making a good point. He goes, even North Korea has satellite and hate America.
Everybody does.
And he goes, a lot of countries hate America. So if they could come out and show proof that something's real, why haven't they done it when they want to just kick? And you know what? And I'm listening to my son like, I never thought about that. That's a pretty good point. You know,
just go to Google Earth. I mean, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can sit in their bedroom and go to Google Earth and look anything up from the satellite images. You know, on the ships we have, they call it the Twilight Zone, the Twilight Room, where they have all this information that comes in from satellites from all over the place, and everybody accesses each other's satellites, and everybody's on the same page. Every country can see each other's stuff. Again, Tom, Dick, and anybody in their bedroom can go on Google Earth. Hey, look, if this is weird, you know, everybody. There is no one group that has access to all information. Everybody can have it. Everybody has it. Okay. You know, China just wants to sell you rubber dog poop, and that's their industrial complex there. They sell things that we buy. We have whole stores and shopping malls filled with Chinese goods, and they need us as much as we need them.
Exactly. That's why. That's why we'll never go to war with each other, because we need each other's economy to stay on top.
We need those screwdrivers.
The Chinese got activity, and courage, interest in UFOs. Oh, I know they are, but if they have something, they would kick us like, look what we got. Now, now this is interesting. You know, even Eric and Bob can't legally tell us anything we don't already know.
No, I can't tell you everything.
But the thing is, this is the thing is, but there's nothing to tell.
Yeah,
it's not like my belief. David Grush is I don't believe one thing out of his mouth. So technically, he's got nothing legally to tell.
Yeah,
and the reason he's talking so freely is because there's no truth behind it.
It's like if Danny Statesman says, "Hey, man, are there actual aliens?" You know what I say to Danny Statesman? I say, "Well, there's non-human entities." You already knew that from watching. He's got a comic book collection. He can tell you that. You look okay.
The new porn word. The new porn word. None.
Okay. So here we go, guys. I'm an anthropologist, right? So you have a chimpanzee. Eric says, "What is that?" I said, "Well, that's a non-human entity. That's a primate of the something species. We are Homo sapiens. There is a non-human. He's a non. Okay, here's a bird. That's a non-human entity." Eric goes, "What is that?" I go, "That's my dog." "Well, what is that?" "It's a non-human entity, Eric." Don't you own a non-human entity? How is she doing?
Danny wrote, "Yeah, but some of these images on Google Earth are
blacked out.
Doctor to hide things, blur out." Now listen, guys, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's government's hiding stuff. We're not saying they're not hiding stuff, but that stuff they hide. They're hiding it for a reason, and they're not going to tell us about it.
Yeah,
you know? And I said this. They got stacks of files. They do. They got some stacks that can be disclassified, but when we pass some kind of law, okay, here we go. Here's some files, but they're already not important. The real important ones, they'll just classified as something else, not to be shown. Don't just call it something else. This is a danger to the security of the country. Boom, done. Don't have to be shown. So yes, you're right. we're not saying they're not hiding stuff, but the question I'm having is when you have three whistleblowers, so-called three whistleblowers, first of all, are they incredible in the first place?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Are they? It doesn't matter if you have whistleblowers, so-called kind of people, because I've seen this on other shows, Eric. But they actually have witnesses now on the stand. Listen, I could get 5 people off the street to come in and says they could all be witnesses. But are they incredible? Now, listen, I know this is controversial here. I know this is controversial about like lie detector tests. Can people pass them or not? I'm not here to say the controversial, they're not using courts. I know that. But at least if these 3 want to be so incredible, they should have taken a lie detector test. Just something an extra step to say we're telling the truth. Because nothing they have said and proof in our hands is saying they're even truthful.
Right.
They're even telling us the truth.
I'll get you, Eric. You want a witness, man? Give me till noon. I'll get some money out. I'm gonna get you a witness. Eric, you want a tow? I'll get you a tow. You want a tow? I'll get you a tow. Yeah, I'll get it by noon. I'll get you a tow. You want a witness? How many witnesses you want? Let me get some money out. I work for Blackstone Corporation. How many witnesses you need, dude? I'll get you a tow by noon too. You want a tow, and you want 3 witnesses, and what do you want? You want a Big Mac, right? You want a Big Mac with extra onions and 3 witnesses and a tow.
Well, one truth wrote, but wait, isn't Bob a non-human entity since the incident on the naval ship?
Yeah,
you guys know what? I was watching some shows,
yes.
and some of these conversations are coming up with some of the shows. Is like, hey, what did David Grush mean? The non-biological or whatever
non-human.
The non-human. What does he mean by that, dude? What he means by that is he knew by saying non-human biological, he got you. He got you to bend over, to believe everything he says. He got you. That's why he brings it up.
Yeah. Did you guys know that the Russians actually had the first non-human inhabitant ever in space? Did you know that, Eric? The Russians actually had they launched the first non-human inhabitant into space. The dog's name was Laika, and Laika was a dog, and Laika was put into a spacecraft and Laika didn't make it back. Now Laika was technically the first non-human inhabitant, and that's what he says. So basically, you can have something crash, and it could have been a dog like Laika. And this Congress said, tell us, was it human? No, it was a non-human inhabitant.
Yep. Danny wrote, ask yourself why there's 140K pages of files from WW2 that's still classified from the 1940s. And back then, you could still affect national security. Yeah, you're right. They've been holding stuff for centuries. Maybe those are the files that we should be going after. The stuff back in the 40s and 50s where we live in a world now, I hate to say it, we live in a world now with social media that everybody more than ever are faking things or telling the truth. Back then, people do fake things back then, but it's harder. And I feel there's more truth, more maybe back then than it is now because wasn't easy to make money off of it. So maybe those are the files we should go after, trying to look at. Yeah. Now, here's what Ron says. Also, before a hearing, if there is a classified info to be discussed, they will schedule a public hearing and a non-public hearing. They didn't do that. Conventionally, they did not have access to a skiff. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you knew you weren't going to get anything, even though Tim promised the world this is going to be the conference is going to blow everything out of the water.
Yeah, this is Blackstone Umbrella Corporation. So this is what you guys are going to say, or Joe Biden's son's going to get pictures of himself in a bathtub smoking crack with a whore. Let's make sure this. My son is also on crack. I'm on the committee, and I don't want my son being caught on camera smoking crack. Oh shoot! Let's just ask the question that the Umbrella Corporation wants us to ask.
Here's interesting. Juan Truth said, look up Master Sergeant Robert Dean with file he read called The Assessment, Classified, the UFO Intelligence. And then Danny wrote, ask yourself, there are still thousands of pages of files on the Kennedy assassination, still classified since 1963. And how many times, I'm not getting to the JFK conversation here, but how many times we keep hearing they're going to release the JFK. Every person comes into office, says we're going to release something, and Danny's right. And they still don't release it. I mean,
they don't release nothing.
But you hear it. You hear it all the time. We're going to release it. When they did this whistleblower law, whatever they're coming out, this is going to open up the JFK files. Well, it hasn't happened yet. Well, let's hear what this lady has to say.
Yeah.
Well, as the world burns, many U.S. lawmakers still argue man-made climate change isn't real. But if you want to talk UFOs, well, they will listen.
My son, Oliver, again says, Dad, isn't it also funny that temperatures are on the rise in America, record-breaking? And then my son says, session is on the rise, everything is out cost. But isn't it kind of weird? Now we got this panel to kind of like talk, people forget about rising prices. Oh, yeah. That's not talk about temperatures breaking records. Now we're all gonna be talking about UFOs instead of, I'm not saying UFO is not a real issue. It is a real issue. But what I'm saying is the heated temperature, which can cause fires, that causes, more firemen, you know what I mean? And then of course, prices that a freaking piece of bacon package is $10. Yeah. I went to buy a bag of potatoes last night, $7-8. But now all that, my son's like, and now instead of talking about those, everybody's talking about the UFOs. I'm not saying that's why they're doing it, but again, my son made a good point.
Well, yeah, he's right, because just recently, if you guys can hear some more information, get your number 2 pencils out and write this down. How many barn fires have we had within this last year? All these barn fires have killed lots and lots of chickens, and all of a sudden we've got an egg hike, and eggs are worth a lot of money, obviously, because there's not enough eggs because of all the mysterious barn fires. I want Danny Staten, and I want Juan's in there. Fuck it, have Juan number 2 pencil and look up how many barn fires have we had with all these animals dead, and all these freaking prices keep going up because of the shortage. All of a sudden, how is it that we're having all these barn fires and all these, and like you said, pork went up. There was a time when beef was beef. All the cows are dying. Why are the cows dying? The chickens are all dying. Why are the chickens dying? Why are these prices going? It's because it gets you going into something else. You don't want to look around. You don't want to look up. You want to look down at the store and go, why are my eggs expensive? Why are my eggs expensive? Why is the bacon expensive?
And I'm not trying to make a conspiracy thing from this.
No,
but my son Oliver is far from being anything into the conspiracy world.
No, he's not. He's logical.
But he's like, kind of weird. Let's hear more what they have to say here.
A panel of the House Oversight Committee is holding a public hearing today on identified anomalous phenomena. Military veterans have testified on what they call a very real national security threat and whether UFOs come from Earth or somewhere else. There are bipartisan calls for the government to share more about what it knows. For the latest, CNN's Tom Foreman is live in Washington. And Tom, this hearing's been going for several hours. What has come out of it so far?
Well, if you're a conspiracy theorist or somebody who really believes something's out there, this has been Christmas and New Year's and your birthday all rolled up into one, because an awful lot of things have come out. Testimony about things that have been seen by these witnesses who are former military men while they were flying.
You either get assaulted by the aliens or assaulted by the federal government for talking about the aliens.
Not aliens.
But this isn't a joke. Aliens. This information's so top secret, these whistleblowers are worried about getting murdered.
No,
in the last couple of years, have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life?
Hold on.
You're not worried about being murdered.
So far, there is absolutely no proof that any one of these guys' life's been threatened.
No, they haven't been threatened.
None at all.
Because he said okay, we got to make this real clear. I want everyone on the sidebar to understand this and get it in your head. They did not say aliens. They said non-human inhabitants. In fact, Eric, you see this right here? Inside this vessel is a non-human inhabitant. Let me take it out. It's a lighter. I put it in here. It's inside of it. And guess what it is? It's a non-human inhabitant. Because it ain't human. They didn't say aliens. There is no aliens. There is no, you know what? People said aliens. People put it in their head. They keep saying, like if your son was here right now, if Oliver was here, Oliver would be like, Dad, they didn't say aliens. They said non-human non-human inhabitant, which means you could put your dog into your car, Eric, and go get yourself some stuff from the Starbucks for your dog. Inside of your car, Eric, is a non-human inhabitant until you get into the car. You know what I'm saying? It's a dog. It's a non-human inhabitant. Nobody said aliens. So when I hear everybody buzzing, aliens have confessed to aliens. No, they didn't. They said non-human inhabitant. Inside of this little thing here is a non-human inhabitant. It's a liar. It's non-human.
Like Ron said, the key word, non-human. That opens it up to like basically an out.
It's an out. It's a non-human. A non-human inhabitant means not human. So I'm going to put something in my pocket, Eric, and inside of my pocket right now is a non-human inhabitant. It's a dime. I have a dime in my pocket, and it's a non-human inhabitant, and I did not lie to you. So there we go.
Now somebody was like there's I know we'll be talking more about David Grush because he's the popular the porn star guy of the UFO community now. But like somebody says, like, well, Eric, what does Ryan Graves have to gain from any of this? You know, what would he gain? You know, I'm just gonna share this. I know this ain't nothing super huge at all, and you can take this with a grain of salt. Ryan Graves has his own podcast. He's a show called Ryan Graves Merged. He's on all the podcast channels and all that. Since the hearing, his show that he's been doing for 7 months has skyrocketed in views and saying. So he just made himself. He's making himself so much money now through his podcast because everybody he's a savior.
Eric, what's his name again? What's his name again?
His name is Ryan Graves.
Now, remember, every time you say Ryan Graves, you got to stop and say #merch.
He's the former Navy pilot.
#merch.
That and all that, and the truth of the matter is, I'm not saying what he didn't see, but there are thousands of reports of all pilots in the world that saw dramatic things.
I saw a lot of crap.
His is nothing new of seeing things at a fast pace. I mean, none of it's new. I mean, none of it.
I want to go to Congress.
But the media makes it sound like, hold on. Ron's a very intelligent guy. I like when he says stuff. Yeah, Ryan has been on the circuit for years and just spoke about the Cube UFO. Everyone was like, huh? Where did that come from? So what he meant is the only new thing that came out was a different kind of sighting that this guy saw.
And a non-human inhabitant.
Where was that at?
Which could be a mouse. You could put a mouse.
He comes up. I hate to say this. Yeah. Another story.
Oh yeah.
Where's this video? Why? Okay. If this is so brand new, where was this? Has this ever been reported? You know. So, you know, I mean, it'd be like, I don't know, like okay, I got something brand new for you guys. Like, so you're waiting for it. Where's the evidence of proof? I saw this. Oh, you saw something else now? Do you at least have a video of that? No.
Is it not human resident?
Big.
Yeah.
Again, the whole conference to me was just conversations back and forth. There was nothing aggressive. There was nothing like questioning. There was nothing new given.
And
nothing.
he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying to Congress. And they said it wasn't an alien. And he goes, no, it's a non-human. It's a non-human.
He's not admitting to anything.
It's a non-human.
Let's hear a little bit more here.
Yeah.
For addressing these issues.
Yes, personally.
Well, let me go back just a second.
It's a non-human inhabitant. Inside of it.
But the latest CNN's Tom Foreman is live in Washington. And Tom, this hearing's been going for several hours. What has come out of it so far?
Well, if you're a conspiracy theorist or somebody who really believes something's out there, this has been Christmas and New Year's and your birthday all rolled up into one, because an awful lot of things have come.
Pop. But you know what?
What?
Is he lying? Listen. 80%.
No, he's not lying.
80%. I'm guessing a percentage of all the UFO channels that I have seen in the last 2 days. Over 80% of them are saying this is the greatest thing they have ever saw. So in a way, he is. Listen, I
since sliced bread and toilet paper, man.
I went to a channel the day of. I was in mostly Cosmic Neighbors channel, but I had to get ready to go on another channel called Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress. I was a guest on her channel at 9 a.m. that day. It was awesome. It was an awesome show. I was invited to. I went into another show and I said, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's like the greatest thing." I said, "You know what? I didn't like it. I didn't feel it." And then everybody like attacked me, like we're talking about.
Yeah,
Eric.
you're dumb.
They had witnesses. I'm serious. They were attacking me like I didn't like it. So and this is the thing, Bob. This is the thing that disappointed me so much. With I'm not trying to put people down.
No, but they don't know.
But before the conference.
Yeah.
So many people were agreeing that David Grush has not said enough to make them a believer. Everything he was given was secondhand. Which so and it's a lot of people, right? So after this conference, I hate to say this, these exact same people who said they're not a believer, David Cross, but he has said nothing new. After this hearing, he is a hero to them. And this is the thing. In that thing, he said nothing new. It was the exact same story. Every time they ask him for names to make him become that hero, I already sent it up.
Oh, no,
I can't talk to you. You know what I mean? I mean, if he says something like, "Yes, this person," "Oh, yes, I saw the Monopoly guy, Pennybags, talk to Congress. He saw the bodies."
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela was there. Nelson Mandela, there was nothing new he said in that conference. I'm like watching these channels, like, I was like, okay.
No, Eric, we're gonna play Congress. I'm gonna be the congressman. I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay, ready? I'm gonna ask you a question. Now you gotta be serious. Now I'm just saying fucking around. Everybody in the sidebar, I want you to listen to this. Eric, right now in your house. Now listen, you're under oath, dude. Do you have a non-human inhabitant living in your house? Think about it, man. Eric, has this non-human inhabitant that's in your house ever been inside of a vehicle that you've driven?
Not exactly. My dog took a turd, and in that turd there was some DNA that came from his body, which might be non-human in his turd. So that turd was wrapped in a bag, and I threw it out in my front yard.
Yeah, and guess what? You are not going to prison, dude, because you are so okay. That's all I need to hear. You've confessed to having a non-human resident in your house. Okay, you were completely legal.
Danny, was he wearing the monocle?
Was he wearing the monocle?
When I was switching penny bags, yes,
yes,
he was wearing the monocle to. He was wearing a monocle so he could read the extra file. And, thanks for sharing the link. Danny is awesome. Oh, this is the channel that I was talking about that before I went on her channel for that interview. So I went to somebody else's chat before I jumped on her channel. When the same group was against David Grush and now they're all for him, which I was shocked because there was nothing new. Listen, I'm not trying to. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to kick the conference down. Listen, if this conference again has helped young people to be inspired to look into the UFOs, that's great.
Yeah,
I'm all for that. But everything that was said at the conference was nothing new.
Yeah,
and when these whistleblowers had the opportunity to come out and say some things, they did not. Now, again, people in the past says, Eric, they don't say nothing because, or no. When I said, Eric, the reason they never got arrested for bringing out classified information because the government knows they're going to be a martyr.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. I've been saying it for a long time.
Millions of people watching. You have that opportunity now to be that martyr. And you didn't take it. So why, before the conference, you've been known to leak classified information that made you become a whistleblower. Yeah. Now you are in front of a panel, which that is the ultimate goal, right? To get in front of that panel. Then how come when you're in front of the panel, all of a sudden you can't give out classified information no more?
Yeah, and the thing is not to lie, and they didn't lie. The guy didn't lie. So Eric and I had
a dad. He didn't lie. He said non-human.
Yeah, Eric and I had a dad we could not lie to. Now my dad knows what we did, but we could not lie to my dad. So my dad wanted to know what happened, and so Eric and I learned how to tell my dad the truth without telling him the truth. So did you have no, Father? I did not have any humans in my car. I had a non-human.
Real quick, hold on, real quick. Now, since I got you here,
yeah.
When I was on the Cryptid Hunters channel, I was telling them the Gettysburg story. You were there, and I was telling I was telling Jessica that. Not just the story, how
it's potatoes,
somehow
by the way.
It never existed, but there were some parts of the story where you and I even had split memories on. Like I was telling her, like in the beginning, when we were greeted by the woman
by the lady,
in the white dress, I said that she was offering bread, and if I brought her bread, but you remember something else.
No, the potatoes. She asked us if we have any potatoes for the pot.
I thought it was beer. I don't know why.
No, it was potatoes for the pot.
So it's potatoes. So I remember.
Did you guys bring any potatoes?
I remember bread, and you remember potatoes.
Yeah, because even after we're driving away, you're like, man, she asked for bread. And no, she didn't, dude. She asked for potatoes.
And it was just
no potatoes.
And so I was like saying, I was telling her, the story of it. And it wasn't just the story, but there were some parts within the story that, for whatever reason, we have different memories of.
We have totally different memories because you were I was talking to these people, and you're going over there talking. You were at the surgeon's table, fucking around over there for a while, all confused.
That's where I learned about the horsehair.
Yeah, the horsehair, boiling the horsehair, and then I walked over, and the guy, I go, oh, what's going on? The guy's explaining to us how they had kidnapped Southern surgeons. In fact, it was like a floating MASH unit with kidnapped Southern surgeons, which really don't consider themselves kidnapped since they're fucking stitching up their brothers and sisters on the fucking battlefield. It's not like
they were
it's basically surgeons working together as a MASH unit. Like we're kidnapped, my ass. But then they had remember that screen, and the guy talked about how they put the they knock you out. They put it inside of and they put it on the face. They go, that's how they knock motherfuckers out. And so these guys were like, all of this information was really, really good, and we're both like, "Whoa, this feels real." And I'm like, "No, this is real, dude. This don't feel real. This is real."
And that's my whole point. It was and it was like, because I think the biggest thing, we were so shocked. The whole show just shifted. The whole show just shifted. We'll get back to UFOs for a second. But like I said, we were talking about it.
She came out of it.
Of all things, it wasn't, because you and I, first thing we tripped about was we were like reenactment, and we're expecting there's going to be a battle zone. But there was no battle. It was all people get blown up and surgeries and all that. And it was like, and then somehow at the end when we left, where we thought we were there for 5-6 hours, and it turned out like 45 minutes and only an hour.
It was like hours.
We were there longer.
We were there hours, man, and it was really cool to find out that a lot of the myths of them, well, they're getting sick and they're getting their legs because they don't know about cleaning. No, they did. They boiled fucking water. They knew how to. They had boiling rags, man. That means killing bacteria, and this came from the freaking southern surgeons, man. And you and I are like, oh my God, the southern surgeons are the ones that are saving people. Like,
yes,
the northern surgeons were learning from the southern surgeons
because they learned because they ran out of string. That horsehair was too thick, and they boiled it, and they noticed that when they were sewing people with horsehair, that the affections of the wounds were healing.
Well, that's what the northern surgeon was saying, but he learned it from the southern surgeon who apparently already knew that there's some sort of microbe that's causing all these infections. So they've got pots of boiling water and boiling rags and boiling sheets and boiling everything, and then boiling freaking horsehair, and they're hot, like you know when people understand, like the old joke goes, she's having a baby. You quickly go boil water. You know. Now
It was like when you're washing, or you got all the hot water boiling on the stove, and everything was fogging up. You had tents fogging up because they had all this water boiling because the amount of soldiers were coming in, the more they could handle. So they had to keep recycling.
Yeah,
they had to keep recycling it.
And some of them they would boil like, okay, so they have a wound in the leg and they remove the pants or cut off whatever. They would boil their pants too and give it back to them and then hang it. They would have their clothes because they boiled the old stuff off their clothes.
Yes, they did have essence, but at the time we thought that because I remember telling Bob, like, because we were saying like, Bob, these people are great actors. I'm like, I was like, these people are good. And still, the strangest thing was throwing us off because we went on a Sunday morning because in the South, or not in the South, a lot of people goes to church. So we go on a Sunday morning, be less people in the morning. But when time was going by, it seemed like on our clock, we were both like, how come nobody else is showing up? Is this just for us?
Well, the real reason why, and this is the fucking truth, guys. I swear to God, Eric, one of the real reasons why we went up on a Sunday mornings, because I work at Smithsonian Institute, and we wanted to go run around. I look at historical sites. I know about certain things. And Eric said, you remember this? Eric goes, I'm going to take you to a place, dude. It's special. It's a restaurant. And the special thing about this restaurant was you could smoke cigarettes in the restaurant. You remember? Eric's like, that was the whole premise of the trip. So we drove way the fuck out because Eric found a place you could still smoke cigarettes in the restaurant. And I go, oh my God, I'm smoking a cigarette with a cup of coffee in the restaurant, man. Like one of the last places on the fucking United States you could still
in Gettysburg.
And we remember I got blackened catfish. They had blackened seasonings, blackened catfish, blackened everything was like super southern food, and you could smoke cigarettes. And that was, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was the last place I ever smoked a cigarette was in the Gettysburg area. Eric took me to
in Gettysburg restaurant.
Yeah. And then we happened to stumble upon hey dude, there's a reenactment, man. It's like a mist. It was like the Gettysburg field, and the way they do the fencing is really badass because they weave it, and like, that looks so rustic how they keep it old school. And there was a mist, and there was all these tents set up, and Eric's like, let's pull in.
and we pulled it right in the front. We're like, wow, you can park right in front of.
And there's no cars.
I remember that. We're like, wow, you can park right in front of the.
There's nobody here.
Of the reenactment.
Now, Eric and I, as you guys can see by the way we dress, because we're from Fresno, and so people still wear, we still wear kind of traditional, this is our fashion here. And so we both look kind of the part. So we don't look, if you look at us now, is how we look. And so nobody really questioned us other than like, we look a little fancy, maybe? Like a little fancier than the normal person.
But it was just, the whole thing was just weird because, first thing we were saying is you had all these people already here, but no public.
Yeah, there's no public. There's no public.
That was the first odd thing.
This
like,
is all ours.
Everybody watching this?
This is all ours. We get to fucking run around this reenactment, man, and it's just us, dude. And we get to learn everything. But it's like,
I remember we did ask one of the soldiers, whatever, like, where's the battles? Oh, we don't do the battles. This is where we help save people. The battles is over the hills.
Yeah, they bring them in with the stretchers.
And then I also remember, I didn't bring this up I forgot to bring this up on the cryptid. There was a special tent. And I remember like, what's that tent? Oh, those are for the generals. They get their own special doctors. They get their own special
shit.
They get the
super surgeons from the South.
They don't get the reboil stuff. They get the fresh. They're treated differently than soldiers. Like if a doctor could save a leg, they're gonna save a leg of the generals, the people who are in charge, not the soldiers. Surgeons. The soldiers get the Southern. They get they get the bad stuff. Your legs don't get saved because all the equipment is with to save the generals and stuff.
Yeah, it's the Southern surgeons at the SS. Everyone's like, oh, you get it, this SS. You hear what they're saying? No, they were Southern surgeons. So this place was a MASH unit, man, and it was the Southern surgeons that were teaching the Northern surgeons what to do, and me and Eric.
I forgot about the Southern teaching the Northern on how to do things. It was just it was so weird.
Yeah, it was cool. The Southern surgeons. They had a Southern accent, and they were the smart ones. They were kind of like, they were not in charge, but they were, because they were captured. They were captured surgeons from the South. A lot of S's with this one.
It's hard to, and it's also still hard to remember during the things. Well, some of our memories were different, but I still remember. I still remember when they gave us some beers. The beer was flat. Because they said they made it homemade, which is fine. And I remember, I don't know if it was you said it, like, man, I'm drinking, this is like my third pint, and I'm not getting buzzed.
Because I didn't know it was beer. You said later. I was like, that ain't no beer, man. I don't know what that is.
No, the guy said they brewed their own beer in the back.
Yeah, they brewed their own beer, which is questionable because I know historically they call a lot of things beer.
True.
And there was alcohol involved with that beer. And I think they were boiling like something. They were boiling roots and shit. They were calling it beer. They were calling it beer. This ain't no beer, man. This is like if they took dandelion roots and they boiled the dandelion root and they're calling it a brew beer. I mean, this ain't a beer. This is like flat fucking coffee. It's brewed beer my ass. Now we think of beer as beer. In fact, I'm gonna have some beers tonight, but there's some beers, but it's same beer.
If you have killed Captain, the soldiers suffer less. I can see that. I mean, but it's. I mean,
the problem is if you kill the captain, soldiers are not educated and they're just a bunch of kids. They're kids. So the officers imagine a bunch of kids that want to brawl and somebody shot dad. And now the kids are just going to fight and beat the shit out of each other. Like me and Mike, our older brother, me and Mike if my dad wasn't there, me and my older brother Mike was fighting. Eric, no, we'd fight. So if my dad was there, we didn't fight. So when you start killing fucking officers, man, the kids will fight even worse, man. They'll like gouge each other's eyes out with their thumbs and shit. Officers keep that shit organized. Like, nah, You know, the guy gets shot. He hits the ground. He's fucking down. You could still repair him. You could still fix that. And nobody's like gouging each other's eyes out because dad's not dead. So we got to be careful when we talk about shooting out. I know everyone's like, oh, the officers are the risk. Yeah, I get it. But they also keep a little bit of order. You know, I'm sorry, guys. In the thing of war, I hate them too. I punched Eric knows I went to the brig once for punching an officer in the face. But, you know, he was drunk and he was in civvies, so I didn't know.
It happened. Well people, we'll jump right back into UFOs. We'll see what the rest of the video says.
Yes.
But this isn't a joke. This information's so top secret, these whistleblowers are worried about getting murdered.
Oh.
Again.
Oh, no.
Again.
Yeah.
Again. Another news channel. They're so worried. Where's the proof of that? Who's threatening them? Did they say they got a phone call? I'm serious. Threatening somebody is a serious thing.
Yeah.
If it is a serious thing, was somebody arrested? How do we know that they were really feared for their lives? Now, listen, if the government wants you gone, you know, Patton got in an accident.
Yeah.
It happens quick.
Yeah. And
if they want you gone, you're gone.
You're gone.
In an accident, whatever it is, you're gone.
Or you're gonna have some kind of porn on your internet, and you're gonna be in prison for a very long time, and then you'll be gone.
You and I, we love X-Files. We used to make chicken wings.
Yeah.
On X-Files.
Oh,
but
yeah,
not
we make
everything. Not everything is X-File. Not everything is where you're being threatened. You got the man in black popping up saying, if you say this, you know, there's stories of that, but it's like everybody is drawing the whole X-File thing at these whistleblowers. It's like, and I'm questioning, did they really get threatened? By who? Where's the names of that? Who's calling? Because if you got threatened, if they reported it, listen, they got the phone number. Somebody will be arrested. And when I checked this, I checked. I was looking it up. Was anybody arrested for threatening them? Nothing came up.
No, if they're sitting in a restaurant, man. You know, here's the thing. You could pull up on your car. I can grab a ping table tennis ball. I could put some nitrous in it with a little freaking syringe, put a little wax on it, put it in your gas tank, pops right in there, and it's a timer. And boom, your car is gone. And nobody the guy that fills up your car, the mechanic that works in it, he could put ping pong balls into your gas tank and you're gone on it. Oh, we don't know what happened. It must have been the battery blew up. And, you know, somebody could sit in a restaurant and the waitress comes in and just puts a little bit of something inside there, like a radiation tablet or whatever. You're eating from the inside out. You're dead. Somebody wants to kill you, you're going to die fast. There's nobody walking around that's alive that's not supposed to be alive. Yeah. Like that. What's that guy? Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer is another fraud. He's a surgeon. I'm like, bullshit, dude. If you were real, the government would have taken you out a long time ago.
Yep.
Like a long time ago. You're supposed to be out talking. You're the Blackbird, man. You're the Blackbird. Everybody knows about the Blackbird now because Stephen Greer is the Blackbird. You know what I mean? It goes right back to the Blackbird, Blackwater, Blackstone, someone said BlackRock, the Umbrella Corporation.
Well, if he was telling the truth, he would be with Snowden right now in Russia too.
He'd be 6 feet under, man.
He'd be 6 feet under.
He'd be 6 feet, please. It's the corona. 6 feet, please. 6 feet. He'd be 6 feet under.
Yep.
Fuck that.
Let's see what this news guy had to say.
In the last couple of years, have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life for addressing these issues?
Yes, personally.
Okay. Who was it? Was that person arrested? Was it reported? Because I don't see any reports. I don't see anybody arrested for threatening you.
No.
Former Department of Defense official Christopher Mellon joins me now. So, Christopher, what else can you tell us?
Well, I think a couple of things are clear from the hearing. First of all, our military is encountering vehicles that far surpass the capabilities of our own frontline aircraft. They're operating on a persistent basis in restricted military airspace. Sometimes they're jamming the sensors on our aircraft. So obviously this is far more concerning than lumbering Chinese balloons. This is something we have to get to the bottom of. The other thing I would say is it's very clear from the hearing today that there's a great deal of information that the government is still not sharing with Congress. The only question is how much information, how extensive is that information?
Are they not sharing it because they want to rip off the tech so other countries can't have it, or they just don't want to scare us?
It's hard to say. I don't know the answer to that question. I think in terms of the workforce, there's a sense of denial.
I always hate those kind of questions now because, first of all, if that guy can't even get to the classified information, how is he even going to know how to answer that question?
Listen, he's not brief.
Every country develops technology, develops it, or finds it.
Yeah,
and they don't tell the other countries because they want it for themselves. That's nothing new.
Yeah, ironically, I guess Russia's having some war problems. This reminds me of when the men went to the moon. All of a sudden, we went to the moon, and we beat the Russians. We beat the Chinese. We beat everybody. We're on the moon, and all of a sudden now everyone's got their whatever. All of a sudden, we have access, Eric, to technology from other places, and everyone's like, all the other countries are like, oh no, they went to the moon first. It's kind of ironic that the United States all of a sudden has all this technology. Is it the same thing with the moon landing? We went to the moon. We beat the Russians. We beat the Chinese. We have the technology, and guess what? We just got the technology again because we have a non-human inhabitant.
And it's just common sense too. Listen, if we got some better technology, it's not gonna it's gonna be classified.
Yeah, me and Eric.
And if we have this technology you don't want to share, why would you want that classified to be open? That you're using it to protect our country? I'm just saying.
It's all over TikTok, and everyone knows the United States now has secret technology, and so do the Russians, and so do the Chinese. Because Eric and I are going to stand together in a group, and we're going to turn our backs to everybody. And Eric's like, I got secret technology. Don't let nobody know. But Eric says it so loud that Danny Statesman hears it over there. And he's talking to freaking Juan. And Juan's like, did you hear Eric tell fucking Bob that he's got technology? Keep your back turned. Just keep saying, Eric, we don't have any technology. Eric has a beer. I have a beer. We act like our beers are secret technology. Dude, when this leaks,
is
Eric,
this really a ghost box?
Is this really a ghost box? Everyone's like, dude, they got secret technology. And then all of a sudden it leaks out on Twitter. Bob and Eric have secret technology. How do you know? We overheard them say it.
And if we find technology, it's not going to be given out. I don't care what these people are trying to do. It will never be giving out if we do have technology that's not from the normal, not from the normal people of us developing it.
Yeah, Eric,
let's see what else these guys have to say.
Going on, I think there has been in the military for a long time. Generally, pilots don't report these things. When they do, people don't want to hear it. They don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to engage on this topic. However, it is also clear that, at least at a senior level, there has been more investigation. There is more information than has been let on. So there was a discussion of subpoenas today. I think that's appropriate in this context. We learned today they're withholding satellite imagery, for example, which we knew existed because President Trump's Director of National Intelligence acknowledged that we have that. Here we are years later, that still hasn't been shared with Congress.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It still hasn't been shared.
Man, it's
either
weird.
A couple things. They don't have anything to share, or they do have something that there's something on there. They're not going to share it either.
Eric, and I'm concerned for your life, dude. I am. I'm concerned because you have a non-human inhabitant, and you're holding that non-human inhabitant in your house, and it's leaked. I bet you this will be all over fucking TikTok and YouTube by the end of the day that you, Eric, have, in fact, a non-human inhabitant in your house.
So there's an example of critically important information
but it's more than that now,
new
Chris.
Insights that's not being shared.
Sure, but it's now not just UFO technology. They're talking about the discovery of actual alien life biology. What does that mean?
See, the newborn word. The word that everybody's going to be jumping on that just made David Grush $1 million, and he's going to write a book about the biological non-human. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger saying his famous word, "I'll be back."
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, and now David Grush got his word.
Yeah, he's got a non-human not alien, guys. Remember, he did not say alien. He said,
isn't it funny?
Isn't
it funny how Jeremy Corbell was sitting behind him? He was there and all that, and Jeremy Corbell goes on these shows. He jumps on these and do interviews and stuff. So it's one big, like they're all salesmen.
Yeah. You said alien. I didn't say alien. I said non-human inhabitant. There's a big difference. In fact, Eric, Eric can verify this. I'm gonna say this for a fact. Eric can verify this. I was in England, and there was a time when I was, in fact, an alien in England. I was illegal because my thing expired, and it was COVID, and I couldn't fucking get back, and so there was an exception, whatever. But I was technically illegal in Europe. I was an illegal alien.
You was.
So if Eric were to ask me in Congress, Eric, ask me a question. We're in Congress. Ask me that question.
Were there any Were there any aliens in the UK?
That would be a yes.
Yes. Were they legally supposed to be here?
No.
My God, there you go.
God damn it.
Alien walking in the UK.
Yes. And I would be legal, and you could put me on a lie detector test, and I can say yes.
Yes, you're right. George Knapp was there too. George Knapp was Jimmy Corbell. George Knapp was sitting in the back. Yes, you are absolutely right.
It appears to be. What was the other word?
That's what they're talking. What I'm distinguishing between here is information that the government has acknowledged that absolutely exists that has not been shared with Congress, and other information that may exist that has not been shared with Congress.
Yeah, but again, how many technology that our military has developed and they're not sharing it? That they develop on purpose. There's going to be things people develop are not going to be known to the public.
Yeah, and they're going to brag about it a little bit. They're going to brag a little bit about it. Now, it's not true, but they can. There's no logins bragging. Eric, you can brag about something you have at your house. Don't you have a triangle, Eric, that does some kind of weird thing? You have some sort of technology. Do you have it? Oh my God, dude, what is that? What is this technology? Oh my God. Oh my God. And you possess this. This may be some strange technology. Maybe. What's the other word that guy used? Apparently, or what was the other? I can't remember the word. It was the other floating word that's ambiguous.
This one.
Oh my God, Eric. What is this?
Light in it?
What is this technology you have?
You see through my face.
Oh my God, you can. Oh man, dude. I don't know how you possess that. Nobody's knocking on your door, because not only do you have a non-human inhabitant living in your house, you actually have what may be.
I even made my own robot.
Oh, you made this. You made a non-human entity. Oh my God, you made this robot. Now, you can boast about how it performs, and I can almost assume that it could probably fly. I assume that it could build and tear down buildings and probably take over entire towns there, because you built a robot, an AI, an artificial intelligence.
I wasn't really gonna bring this up, but Terry Brown, all they needed was Lazar to show up, but he wasn't about to show his face there on his Element 115. And I don't want to get too much into Bob Lazar. I'm going to play the rest of the video. We'll end the show. Bob Lazar, to me, is for my opinion only, he's a phony. So why would you also bring another phony on the panel?
He's a fraud. That man he was a contract. Understand, guys, the intelligence department, the CIA Central Intelligence Department, are not what you see on TV, the guys that run around and slide over cars and have a gun in their hand. No. They are guys that show up with a checkbook and they contract. They hire contracts. They're contractors. So Bob Lazar, which is probably not even his real name, it was a contract hire to go out and tell comic book stories and look good. And he sat there and he practiced in front of a mirror. And I can go into details. I could tell you crazy stories too, and whatever it is. And it may be true. I mean, I could tell you how I went to a facility, and this is true. And I swear to God on my fucking life and my children and everything that I am, that in this facility you had particular color lines. And you had, if you were green, you had to stay on the green line and walk only on the green line and not talk to anybody else that's on the blue line or the red line. I could tell you the same story, and it's true.
Yep.
I mean, but just like Bob Lazar, which is a fraud.
And the reason he wasn't invited, because I think Tim, I'll give him one credit, I think Tim even knows that he's already a known fraud, which these three whistleblowers he did bring on are like more of the new kids on the block. They haven't been fully proven to be right or wrong.
He's a paid. He's the same thing as, guys, in the police department, they have called a paid informant. A paid informant is somebody who gets paid to snitch. Now, he's on the payroll. It's probably not much, but he's on somebody's payroll.
I am going to agree on one thing, and I do agree with Danny on this. And I'm not saying through his lies or not.
Yeah.
But because Lazar did stuff on Area 51, it did force them to say Area 51 existed. Now I'm not saying, you know what I mean? I'll give him credit for that, but the force that was still doesn't mean he was telling the truth. It could be all based on lies or truth. Listen. At the end of the day, none of us have spent a day with Bob Lazar, with Bob or David Rush, the three whistleblowers.
Give me 5
Ryan
minutes.
Graves, David Fravor, who's famous for the TikTok video. None of us has spent a day with none of them. None of us has spent a day with Tim. So what they have seen or heard or talked to, we technically don't know because we haven't been with them. I'm just basing things off what videos that are out there for us to look at, and that's it. So listen, David could be 100% right, everything he's saying.
Yeah.
Bob Lazar could be 100% right, but in my personal opinion, I don't think they're right. I think there's more. I think it's more about the money because UFO is a hot topic right now. It's very hot.
In the tools of science, if you can recreate it, it's fraud. If Danny Staten can convince me that he was at Area 51, and I bet you that man can do it, I'll be like, oh, you've convinced me.
And Bob, what's coming up? An election year.
Yes, election year. Absolutely.
People are announcing their names to run for president, to run for governor.
Yep.
It is, and it's going to be in 2024 is going to be the election year. Everybody's out. Now, everybody's, I'm not trying to play conspiracy here. I'm not playing conspiracy here, but there's a thing that people are fed up with Biden and Trump to the point where they're just not going to go out and vote. So what I mean is people need to replace the votes of the people who are not coming. So right now, the representative Tim, everybody is so popular with the UFO community. Did they just found their replacement votes?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I know it's just a conspiracy theory, but did they just find? Did Tim, the representative Tim, did he just found all his people who are just tired of the government are not going to votes?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It reminds me of the Goblet of Fire and Harry Potter, and everyone's putting their name in the Goblet of Fire so they can go fight. They can go do the whatever the Goblet of Fire. And so I think I said Biden has his name in the Goblet of Fire, and he's in the contest now. Everybody's putting their little whatever in the Goblet of Fire. Like what is
vote. well, slow motion. When people run, they always say they find a way to talk your language.
Yeah.
How do you get votes? By learning how to talk people's language. It's proven that Trump and his team has read a book on how to talk to dumb people. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
There's a book on how to talk to dumb people. It is a fact. It's a fact. So
everybody's an idiot to me, so I mastered that art.
So there's only like a minute left of this anyway, so let's see.
So there are aliens, we're saying.
What I'm saying is that I know that we have satellite imagery that has not been shared with Congress, and when Congress sees that, they'll have a better determination of, are these things going at velocities, and are they of a shape that defies, that helps clarify they're not Russian or Chinese, etc. So some of this information was new today. Mr. Grush, who's someone I've known for a number of years, provided really startling testimony today. He's not a first-hand witness to these craft or to the beings on board. He does have access to people with the kinds of background and so forth that lend credibility to his testimony, but that remains to be proven.
So that's the last step to this. When you have an actual witness to the alien life to come forward with credentials from the Pentagon.
Not alien, non-human inhabitant. He never said yes. Non-human inhabitant. Eric, if I were to take you and I put you in a torture chair, Eric, and I tied you down and I said, I want a confession, dude. Tell me if there's aliens. What are you going to tell me? You're going to say, non-human inhabitant. And you're going to be, I'm going to be like, yeah, you passed a lie detector test. Shit, you have a non-human inhabitant in your house. Holy shit.
The only thing he said, he was trying to, he slid in that, he wasn't firsthand, which is correct.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was saying, okay, so now we need those people. And he's right about that. So basically, if anybody calls this a success, that's up to you. That's up to you. I'm not calling this a success. But if you're calling this a success, then if they do have another panel that comes up, then I expect those first-hand people now to be there.
Non-human inhabitant.
Because if you do another panel, right, and you don't bring in the first-hand people, they're just spinning this in a circle.
Just recently, Danny Stateson's non-human inhabitant that lives in his house killed the neighbor's non-human inhabitant. It was in my show. It was sad.
Hey, look at this. Danny said, I was at Area 51. Wouldn't be able to discuss it because of NDA. But thing is, Danny, you just mentioned it. You might, your life might be threatened.
Your life might be threatened,
but
dude.
If you had been there, I probably would have seen Lazard get off a plane every morning at 8:45 a.m.
Yeah, I bet you would have too, man. And don't forget, we're still waiting for that evidence that what's his name? The guy with the on his head. What's that guy? Oh man, it was he had them people kill them other people. God, he just died. He was in a prison for a long time. He was in a desert with a bunch of other people. God, what's his name, man? He had like long hair. He was in prison, real short. He had magical powers with his eyes.
Oh, are you talking about?
He had a swastika.
Charles
Manson.
Charles Manson.
Yeah, I think Charles Manson was at Skinwalker Ranch, and Danny Staten has all the evidence.
I said it's hypothetical.
I just want to see the evidence.
Saying. Hillary can't get away with the laptop. Yeah.
Nobody can get away with the laptops. Not with the Umbrella Corporation, the Black Stone or Black Rock or Black whatever is in charge of everything. I don't know. So you gotta be careful with the laptops.
So everybody, I'm gonna basically wind down the show a second, but I'm just saying, listen, I wasn't the one who built up the conference. It was the Representative Tim. He promised that we're gonna get names, we're gonna get this. We got nothing but names, but we did get the word non-human, at least. We did get the word non-human. So I guess if there's gonna be a book or a movie now, the non-human, what was the whole thing called? Hold on. The non-human biologicals.
# merch.
So, and if you're one of those said this was the greatest day for the UFO community, I think that you're a sellout to the point where what's also happening, and real quick, that UFO channels are now going to are fighting. They're fighting in a different way with other channels.
Yeah.
They are all trying to get these people to go on their show. They're all doing it. They're all trying to, and to the point where when I was trying to get a few people to come on my show that's supposed to be in the UFO community, I talked to one person, and I'm not going to name names to anybody. I talked to one person, goes, and there's this lady, she was very nice to me. She was, Eric, I actually know your channel. I'm like, whoa, you do? We heard of you. Your name is on the blacklist.
Probably like mine.
My name is on this blacklist because I can't tell you who put it there, but apparently I'm going to give 3 letters. They told me some group that has the initial XPO in it. There's a person from the XPO has said, stay away from this channel to all these people. So why it's and that's what's sad about the UFO community that they just, it's not that they disagree. They also turn on their own people because they want the clicks, they want the views, they want the money, they want all the exclusive video footages through them. So somebody from the XFO group has been telling these people, and I was even trying to get Travis Walton on, but apparently I'm also on the blacklist for Travis Walton to come on my show.
He won't talk to me. He won't. None of the guys will talk to me because they know I know some shit. He's fucking lying.
The thing is, listen. When anytime a guest comes on the show, I show people respect. I let them I let them make me a believer. I don't call people names or anything that comes on the show. I let them explain. So it just tells you that people, they want all the exclusives. They want all of it. So just be careful out there, everybody. Be careful. Be careful who you talk to, who you know.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing the show, I guy got nothing to worry about anyway.
Yeah.
But
they blackballed me too, man. They're like, oh, he was on the Blue Ridge.
An old somebody, Juan Torres says, Eric, can you end it with an old intro? And I'm trying to look for one of them here.
The old Gypsy Road show. The old Gypsy Road show.
Well, I have I have the horror intro from the horror show. So I'll end the show with the horror intro.
Jason Voorhees.
So here we go, guys. Thank you guys for coming. It was a great time. And remember, at the end of the day, it's so up to you what you want to believe. You don't have to take our words at all for anything.
Oh, no.
Beyond that, we'll see you guys later.